Joining me now is Christina Smith, Lodi Township Clerk. Welcome to the show, Christina.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. So let's dive right in. Talk about how will running the 2024 election be different from the 2020 election for you?
In 2020, we were under a pandemic, so it gave us some different challenges we had to deal with. There was, the PPE stuff, the social distancing, all that, and we worked our way through it. I've had my election workers for as long as I've been here and some before me. And they are very versed at all things election, and they handled the situation very well. Going into 2024, we are able to downsize to two precincts. We were able to combine two of our precincts together to make one, which now in our polling location makes it easier to evenly divide, giving us a little more space to spread out. I was able to reduce the number of workers that I have, which is good. It's a very long day for a lot of people, and it gets stressful.
Yeah.
We also are seeing a reduction in walk-ins because of early voting this year and the absentee voting.
Yeah, and I want to get more into the early and absentee voting in just a bit. But between state law changes and expectation of turnout, how is Lodi Township preparing for the November election?
With all the state law changes, there have been an increase in absentee ballots. We have about 5,500 registered voters. We've sent out 2,000 absentee ballots already with getting a good response back at this time. Um, Early voting numbers have been a little hit and miss. We haven't done early voting with the presidential election yet, so that's going to be interesting to see how those numbers come in. I still anticipate lines at the polling locations, and we'll be prepared as best as we can. It's a lot of organization, it's a lot of pre-planning and making sure my election workers have all the information they need and they are kept aware of all the situations that can happen.
Yes, and as a township clerk, you are tasked with both running for the election while also running the election. Talk about balancing the two responsibilities.
It's very hard. I can't by law be in the polling location, um, which puts a lot of stress on my election workers. But again, they've been with me since for 10 years now. So they've been through a lot. They know a lot of the different scenarios that can happen. They rely on my deputy a lot. I'm available by phone all day long. And when I do have to go there, I kind of slip in the back way and do what I need to do and slip out the back way. Um, it's difficult. And, when all eyes are on you, you have to do what's right.
Yeah, definitely. And, have there been any limitations or will there be any limitations to your job on election day with you actually running?
No, I still took the oath of office back in 2020.
Hmm.
I still have my statutory duties that I am responsible for. So yes, I will be there until the very end. The polls close at 8 o'clock. Everybody in line at 8 o'clock still will be allowed to vote. Then we close the polls. It's not immediate. There's a lot of work that has to be done after the polls close.
Hmm. And talk about why can voters trust this process?
That's a very good question. It's a lot. It's this day and age, people have lack of trust.
Hmm.
You I've grown up in this township. I've lived here my whole life. I know a lot of people.
Hmm.
Um, I think that they trust me, and they know that I play by the book, and there are no shortcuts. I'm here to do a job, and that is what I'm going to do. I rely on the county for their guidance as well. Had many, many hours of training. The election process, has been put under the microscope. My machines are tested 2 to 3 times. Um, Everything is secure, everything is safe. I get the question like, how can people vote twice? Well, it can be done, but I like to think that my election workers and my deputy clerk and myself have the knowledge to stop that from happening.
Hmm. Are there any particular challenges you're expecting this cycle?
No, just the high turnout, impatient voters. That makes things quite stressful too when people don't show the respect and don't show the patience that is needed. We're all here for one reason, and it becomes a long day for a lot of people.
And what would you like to say to voters as they prepare to head to the polls?
Pack your patience, come with an open mind, and I'm trying to think what would be a good thing to say here.
I think the pack your patience was great because
Yeah,
not everyone has it, right?
no,
Especially, I
not
mean,
everybody has
this
the
is a
patience.
big, big election season
This
here.
this is a big election season, and show the election and poll workers the respect that they deserve because they work. It could be a 16 to 18-hour day. And a
Hmm.
lot of them are older people.
Yeah.
I have, and I do have a lot of younger people working. I started when my girls went through high school. I recruited a lot of people, a lot of their friends that spent the day with me and learned the process, and they have been coming back and working with me. It's a fun day. It's a long day. Things that you think can't happen will happen, but you just kind of roll with it and you do the best that you can given the situation that you're in.
All right. Well, Christina, we appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm just a small little township, so it's different than, working in a a big city. I couldn't imagine. I mean, that's got to be crazy.
Yeah. And that's why we wanted to speak to you because we know there's a lot of similarities, right? But those differences we don't hear a lot about. So thank you for sharing that.
Yep. There's a lot of personal, relationships and stuff out here, and
Hmm.
that's why I think that it's important that people see me and know. I mean, they know my work ethic. They know
Yeah.
how I roll, and it's good. And
Yeah.
I
Especially
enjoy,
you said you grew up there, right?
I did. Yep.
Yeah.
My parents' farm is about 5 miles from here, and the farm turned 100 years old on the day I was born.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yep. So my parents are still here, and I have a brother and a sister, and they still farm 300 acres.
That's awesome. Well, we
So yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you so much,
Yeah. Thank
Christina.
you so much. Yep. Have a good day.
You too.